Go talk. I really would. Go talk.
So it sounds like
I just let Zeke do that.
Gotcha.
I don't want anybody here. That's not healthy to have somebody around that wants to be someplace else. Really, it's not.
Yeah, go talk. Go take a spin around the block, but you know what the consequences are when you try to come back. Shannon, what's your reaction to what you just heard?
Well, if they put the request in Monday, let him go talk. We shouldn't have to get to Wednesday. Well, I'm going to give, it's kind of like relationships. I'm going to give you until the end of the week to make up your mind. No, make up your mind right now. We've been in this thing long enough to know whether you want to be here or not. Jerry, you should be in this relationship long enough to know whether you want Mike McCarthy or not. You've seen his body of work. Three straight 12-win seasons? Okay, this year was a down year. You had some injuries. But if you don't want Mike McCarthy, why drag this out? Give that man an opportunity to land with someone else, because someone else might interview and they might like them and not want to even talk to Mike McCarthy, and you got this man out there dangling around. Don't do that, Jerry. Either you want him to be in Dallas as your head coach or you don't. You talk about, I don't want somebody to be here that don't want to be here. Nah. You want someone there that you can control, that you can pay them pennies on the dollar, incentivize their contract, and not treat them like the head coach that they are, and not give them the responsibility that a head coach has at all other teams except the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones played too many games. He used all those shenanigans and Jerryisms. That don't mean a hill of beans to me. That's why you're not going to win, because of the way that you are, Jerry Jones. You should have figured that out by now. Do what you've always done. You'll get what you've always gotten. After 3 decades, you should have learned your lesson by now.
Go ahead, Saturday.
Yeah, this is insanity. Like, the way that he addressed the media and placed this on Mike McCarthy is a freaking joke. Mike McCarthy is waiting on Jerry Jones to make the decision. And by the way, the season has been decided for 6 weeks. The guy's been in your building 5 years. You've known exactly who Mike McCarthy is. You knew exactly when this decision needed to be made. You knew when his contract ended. You knew when the exclusive rights to negotiate with him ended. And then you say, well, yeah, I don't want to keep him here if he don't want to be here. That man ain't never said that. You the one who said that by not giving him a contract. You have all the power to get this conversation ended. You decided not to. And now you want the man to say, hey, I may not have a job in Dallas, but I shouldn't go interview for an opportunity I have in Chicago. This is craziness. And again, what is he doing to his team? If Mike McCarthy goes to Chicago and then ends up coming back to Dallas, it's weakened the team again. Jerry loves to do this, whether it's with his quarterback and allowing stuff to go on until the day before the season or the morning of the season. This is craziness. The reason their team is struggling the way they are is because how he handled the offseason. And to blame Mike McCarthy for it is an absolute joke.
I don't disagree. You're absolutely right, Jeff. You're absolutely right, Shannon. The days of trying to rationalize and find sense at this point in some of the things that Jerry Jones has said and done has expired. It really, really has. Do I think Mike McCarthy is a great coach? No. Do I think he's a good coach? Yes. Is he right when he says that he's a champion and that he's won a championship in that building? He's absolutely right about that, because Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys haven't done that in 29 years, now going on 30. So we get all of that. I think one of the things that if you're Jerry Jones, where things really crystallize for us all, Jerry Jones has illuminated why the Dallas Cowboys are so problematic.
Yeah.
Because he clearly believes that working for the Dallas Cowboys should be a privilege, and you should have that no matter who you are. Ignore the changing of the times, ignore the culture, ignore what transpiring. We deal with that in this business ourselves. We see people today that want to hold on to yesteryear, and they want to do business like it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, not acknowledging the advent of social media, podcasting and YouTube shows and things of that nature, how everybody essentially is their own entity, their own brand, their own business, and doing business accordingly. They want to pick and choose who they want to do business with that way, and they want to do business like that differently with other people. In Jerry Jones' case, He's always this way when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. He really, really believes it doesn't matter when I sign you as long as I meet my deadline. He's not paying attention to the business and the fact that you waited with Dak Prescott and a CD Lamb to sign them so you could have shaved about $20 to $25 million in cap liabilities had you done it earlier. But he didn't do that. Now here you are with McCarthy. Now the Chicago Bears, you know what the thing that we have to pay attention to? Mike McCarthy clearly showed that he has friends. We all know good and damn well Mike McCarthy ain't going to be the coach of the Chicago Bears. We know this.
And Jerry doesn't understand that. Jerry thinks by some miraculous way, doing it his way. I don't care. I would be on my deathbed. I believe Jerry Jones would rather lose his way than win someone else's way.
Yeah.
Because time and time again, that's what he's shown, Stephen A. That's what he's shown Saturday. I'm not making this up. And if you look at the type of coaches that he normally hires, the Campos, the Changalys, the Wade, and I love Wade. Wade was my head coach. But Wade will step back and says, okay, Jerry, do it your way. You look at the Jason Garrett's, the Mike McCarthy. Look at every coach that he's hired, other than Bill Parcells, other than Jimmy Johnson, and you tell me which one of those guys actually stood up to Jerry and said, nah, Jerry, we're going to do it this way. Jerry, I believe this is the better way. So, hey, I'm the head coach of this football team. None of them, other than Jimmy and Bill Parcells, Jerry does not like that. And Jerry, Stephen A., you said something very interesting, and you're absolutely right. If Jerry Jones could get away not paying his players or making his players, instead of giving them guaranteed money, make them play on incentivized contracts because this is the Dallas Cowboys, he absolutely would. He absolutely would make them. He would absolutely make them play. This is the Dallas Cowboys. This is the Dallas Cowboys. Do you know the opportunity?
You should feel privileged.
To not commit to him and then say, go test the waters, and then if you do that, we'll see what happens. We don't want you here, is so weak. And so disrespectful, like a threat, like you're a bully.
Yes.
Grow up.
No,
it's such narcissistic behavior. I cannot stand stuff like that.
100% true. And the way
spin the block, but when you come back, you wanted to test out there. You wanted to see what was out there. So clearly, this isn't where you want to be.
That's right.
And then to say it in front of reporters, I would never want to work for somebody like that.
No.
Can I get a little deep here? You know, everybody knows I've got a good relationship with Jerry Jones. I got love for the man. I don't agree with every decision, and I certainly don't believe that he's done a good enough job, which is something I've told him to his face. But I will tell you this. I know so many players that he has looked out for on a positive level that I hate going where I'm about to go. You have others who he has not, they haven't had that relationship with him, that just look at his body of work and how he goes about. And dare I say they're uncomfortable with how he comes across. The bully on the block, the Dallas Cowboys are the privileged. Shannon Sharpe has spoken about this before. Shannon Sharpe looks like a prophet today talking about Jerry Jones. Because the manner in which you spoke about him, Shannon, and how you got on him, I was very reluctant to embrace that. But when you see how he conducts himself every time he's in a power position, you're willing to go against business sense just to flex. See, that's when you add substance and credence to every syllable you've uttered about him. And so as a result of that, on a day like today, when you see how he's talking and how he's handling yet another situation where he's in a quote-unquote power position, you find yourself reflecting on what Shannon Sharpe has said about him in the past, Jeff Saturday, and just saying, I stand down. I can't defend it.
But I do think that he's a traditional coach, that there's nothing special about what his offensive scheme looks like. And if you look at the imaginativeness of the Washington Commanders, you look at some of the Ben Johnson, the things that they do, I think that is a better situation for Caleb Williams than, say, a coach that's been in the league 15, 16, 17 years, and he has a way of doing things a certain way.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me just say this real quick. So I played under Mike McCarthy in Green Bay, and I would tell you this. From the Caleb Williams conversation, what McCarthy wants from his quarterbacks, and you saw it in Dak Prescott and how his game has progressed since he's been there, He wants everything done pre-snap. Mike McCarthy wants you to know where the ball needs to go before the ball is snapped. They're not going to use a ton of motion. They're not going to explode to a bunch of different sets. It's going to be very vertical, and he's going to try to push the ball down the field. But it's predicated on the quarterback in pre-snap stuff, as opposed to what Shannon's talking about with a lot of motions, movement, trying to get guys wide open and understanding kind of what that looks like, the dynamic of offensive coordinating. Mike McCarthy's way works. It has worked in Green Bay. It's worked in Dallas with Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. They put up a bunch of numbers. But to ask Caleb Williams to do that, to your point, Shannon, I think finding a younger play caller that's more in tune with that, I would agree with that as well.
Appreciate the football analysis. I certainly could not have provided that, but I'm a bottom line kind of guy. So let's get to the bottom line. When we look at Mike McCarthy, okay, how can we not look at Dak Prescott? I would say, first of all, to answer the question directly, of course he's a better fit in Dallas than he is. I don't want the young Caleb Williams having to learn from Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy has proven a lot of things in his career. He hasn't proven that. He did have Aaron Rodgers pretty much his entire coaching career in Green Bay. He comes to Dallas, he has Dak Prescott, okay? That's the reality of the situation. Let's get that out the way. Now we have to look at the situation in Dallas, and we have to bring up Dak Prescott. Do y'all know that Dak Prescott, in his first 4 years in the NFL, he made $4.9 million. He didn't miss a single game. Over the last 4 years, he's made $243.7 million. He's missed 26 games in 4 years. I'm looking at the fact that 31% of the time, Mike McCarthy hasn't had Dak Prescott as his quarterback because he's been injured. Certainly, he can't help that. Dak Prescott can't help that. It's football. It happens. I'm not blaming anybody for it. I'm simply saying, when I watch Caleb Williams get slaughtered, when I see the Chicago Bears needing to build an offensive line, needing to be more innovative with their play calling, I definitely think younger. I definitely think about somebody like a Ben Johnson. When I think about somebody that can relate to players and what have you, I think about an Aaron Glenn. I'm thinking about other guys like that. I don't want to hear about Mike McCarthy in Chicago. That's not the way to go. Prioritize protecting your quarterback, buffer that offensive line, take care of the quarterback first. If you take care of the quarterback with your offensive line and his development, you go a long way towards finally being successful if you're the Chicago Bears. You can't do that by bringing Mike McCarthy on.
In the second hour, we got to move it forward. But McCarthy still has 174 wins. That's 13th in NFL history.